Thank you, Mark, and thank you everyone for your presence. It's actually a big gift and present to me to be back with you all. Truly so inspiring. I know I'm not able to make it every day, but I know that you all are cultivating this practice together, and it really is, yeah, inspiring and evokes a sense of awe for me. So thanks for having me here and being open to my offering for this space. Of course, it's an offering. Everybody is their own teacher. I'm here to help hold it. I love the rotating leadership model of this space, but you are the best teacher for you. So if the words land, they're here. And if they don't, drop into your own practice that you know how to do and you've been building the strength inside to do. And myself and everyone here is here to help up lift that up. Um, yes, I am the founder of At the Well. We enable women's well-being using ancient Jewish practice, meaning I spend my whole day thinking about how to make visible and give voice to the practices that are within Judaism that can be strategies for well-being and wholeness in our life. This sit being one of them. But one particularly for me that I care a lot about is this concept of Jewish time as a daily well-being practice. We have a rhythm to our day. We have a rhythm to our week. This group knows about Shabbat. I'm not here to talk about Shabbat necessarily. I really find a lot of source of strength for my own practice by understanding the months and looking at the rhythms of the months and what that means for Jewish people. It is the first commandment in Torah to mark each Rosh Chodesh, each new moon. The first thing we're invited to do upon leaving Egypt as a way to remind ourselves that we're free. And the Hebrew calendar is divinely inspired by the nature cycles, cycles in nature, and also, the history of the Jewish people over the past 4,000 years, and where holidays get placed in the calendar is sometimes, designed by God. Like Passover is on the full moon of Nisan, and also Yom Kippur happens 6 months later. And then there's some things that get placed by our tradition and our rabbis over time. I asked to keep the chat open for a little bit because I like to get different voices, even if we won't hear your physical voice. Can you type into the chat for those who are by your computer what month we're in right now? Like, what time is it right now? What is happening? Kislev. I was waiting for someone to say November because that's happening right now. And that's what's going on in our work and our society. And as Jews, it's Kislev. And it's almost the full moon of Kislev. And that is happening right now. So when I said that, daily wellness practice of tracking the moons, meaning I have my spiritual practice and I have my work. I have my work calendar and I have my spiritual calendar. And so it's just, if you take nothing away, just an invitation to think about what kind of path and practice might be available if I open myself up to understanding what's going on for each month. There's the same Torah portions forever. It's designed with the cycles and nature in mind forever. And everybody who's ever come before us and everyone that will come from us is in tap with the same rhythm of our Jewish spiritual time. So let's talk a little bit about Kislev. Type into the chat if you know what Kislev means. Kislev. Yes, Cheryl, thank you. Pocket heart. So Kislev means the pocket of the heart. And if we think about the calendar, we have 12 months. And then this month, right as we're, getting right into the winter solstice, comes this month where we're focusing on the corner of our heart. I'm curious if, what comes up for you. Feel free to type into the chat. What comes up for you thinking about the fact that in the darkest time of the year, we have this month that is about noticing our heart pocket, what's going on inside of our own souls. hope, companion in the darkness, finding the light, looking inwards in the darkness, faith. The heart can be a source of light and reflection. We light 8 candles this month. We're becoming. Darkness is a beautiful inner time, perfect for looking into our hearts. Loss, finding secrets. What is kept in that pocket? That is a question for this meditation. We're going to get there. Sadness and loss. A pocket is where we carry important things we don't want to lose. Kindling our inner light. I love the dark. Shabbat is the light. Keep sending them here. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Thank you, Paul Simon, and thank you, John, for typing that in. It's a good transition for us to think, yes, Kislev is a pocket of the heart. There's no real answer to what does that mean to you. You get to think about it this month. Also, some things happening in Kislev, Hanukkah, which is placed in this time, bringing the light, bringing light to darkness, joy, memory, rededication, commitment, the loss of the Jewish people fighting each other and what happens. All of that wrapped up. We read the story of Judith this month, a warrior woman who all of us know someone who's named for. It is also said that in this month, we are supposed to rest a lot. And with that comes the fact that we have so many Torah portions back to back that are about dreams. This is a month of dreams and looking at your dreams and your hopes and what are the miracles that are inside of us and how might that we can bring light to our darkness and what is going on in our heart and our soul that will allow us to understand our dreams, to go towards the light, to bring hope and joy into our world. And so with that, I want to get us into a practice, hopefully something to think about. We're going to now get into a comfortable spot. And for some time right now, sit together with an intention of your heart, noticing that part of yourself. One last thing I'll say about Jewish practice is that we know that in Judaism, the heart is seen as a vessel for both feeling and wisdom. It is the basis of our sort of emotional body, our emotions. We know that in some midrash from Ecclesiastes, there's 60 emotions that are listed. So don't be afraid if something comes up when you're focusing on your heart. That's been happening for every human for all of time. And Kislev is just your invitation to go towards yours. So find yourself in a comfortable seat, ground your feet to the floor. Think about grounding down to earth and lifting your keter, your top of your head, the place the kippah goes, up to the divine. Find your breath. Your soul in your breath. A reminder that shoulders are not earrings. Drop them down. Imagine yourself reaching into the pocket of your heart and getting really curious about what you find there. Just noticing, not judging it, obviously, just noticing what's in your heart pocket. What is the characteristic of your heart? Meaning, what's the temperature? Is it rock solid? Is it like Play-Doh? Is it like water? Is it heavy or light? Just meeting it there. In our pockets, we keep things that we need so that we can use in tools in the world. So think about your world, what's going on in your home, in your community, in your neighborhood, in the world. Place your mind there and notice what you have in your heart pocket to give, to use. Notice what you don't have. Most of the time, you remember your keys, but sometimes you forget them and they're not in your pocket. So give yourself permission to just notice what's going on today in your heart pocket as a way of understanding what is available to you in your immediate surroundings. Feel free to test it out with a couple different scenarios or different people and just noticing what you have in your heart pocket and what you don't have in your heart pocket, depending on what's in your life. And if you notice yourself going down a story or a memory or a future worry, just bring it back to the heart. Find your breath, find your body, bring it back to the heart. Just inhaling and exhaling and noticing. In Judaism, we have study and we have action. We have being and we have doing. This is our time to be. So it helps inform our doing. We're remembering that in the cycle of the year in Jewish time, that's been happening so many cycles before us, hopefully so many cycles after us. Right now, in our cycle, right now, we're in the pocket of the year that reminds us, the corner of the year that reminds us about dreams as unopened invitations to our life, dreams and hopes and miracles are possible with intention and noticing. So I want to spend a little time shifting our focus into the pocket of your heart, the part of it that is aspiring, that has hope, that has dreams, and notice what it feels like in your heart to think about your dreams for yourself, for your family, for your community, for the world. Take some time, go slow. An invitation to go through your emotions, your somatic body, your heart as the guide rather than your head. What does your heart dream for? Just a reminder from Torah that this is not easy. Jacob dreamed. He had to do a whole bunch of wrestling, ended up with a whole identity for the Jewish people as wrestlers. So if you're finding yourself in a wrestle, you're in the right place. Joseph dreamed and got the Jewish people to a place of prosperity. So if you're noticing joy in your hopes and dreams, just know that you're in the right place. This is Kislev. In the last couple of moments of this sit together, I want to place our attention on the third part of this meditation that I want us to go. Today, we are remembering Rose Cohn, a woman who stayed up late and was singing and dancing. Bring Rose to mind and notice what happens to your heart. You might not know Rose, but you get her idea. And maybe you know someone that's like Rose, that has the same characteristics that we heard, that cultivated a sense of well-being through life and love and her heart. Bring that person or Rose to mind and notice what it feels like to imagine them in your heart. And as we come out of our meditation today, if the thought of Rose living her life brought joy to you and warmth, put her in your pocket and carry her with you this Kislev. She's here as a guide. May her memory be a blessing to all of us and help us carry forward what we have in our pockets for the world right now. Take a couple more breaths together. Feel it in your body that's on loan to us while we're on earth as partners with the divine to bring forward light into the world. Feel your body. And when you're ready, turn the corners of your mouth up to the sky. Now everyone's smiling at each other. Allow your eyes to open. Send some of the love from your pocket out to the screen. Thank you so much, everyone, for being with me today. Like I said, hopefully it was an offering that was useful. If not, I'm sending you a lot of love and hope that you find another teacher that can help. We're here for each other, and I'm grateful to be with everyone today. And I'm going to pass it over to Mark, who's going to carry us through our closing rituals.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Beautiful, really beautiful. Friends, we seal our practice as we do every day by offering an opportunity for those in mourning or observing a yard site, or if it's your custom to participate in reciting the mourner's Kaddish, to do so. If you'd like to put the name or names of anyone you're holding in your heart or in your pocket today in the chat box, you're welcome to do that now or after we recite Kaddish. And for those who are not reciting Kaddish, you have a role to play too in being present and extending your loving and kind attention and support to those who I invite to join me in rising in body or in spirit to recite Kaddish together. Yit Gadal, V'yit Kadash, Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Yalma, Rach, Yirutei, Lich Malchutei, Chayechon, Ton, Chayei B'chol Beit Yisrael, Ha'agala, B'zman Kariv, V'imru.
Amen.
Shmei Rabbah,
Rabba,
Maya, Yitbarach, Yishtabach, Yitbar, Yitnaseh, Yitadar, V'Dalala, Shema, Tukudusha, B'Retu, Birchata, V'Shirata, Tushbechata, V'Nechemata, Dami, Rambia, Ruamen, Shama Rabba Minchamaya, Chaim Aleinu, Israel B'Imru Amen,
Amen.
Use Shalom B'Mrama, Uyase Shalom, Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael,
Amen.
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 Friends, thank you so much, as always, for joining us and creating this community of practice today. Great to be with you. If you're leaving us now, we hope you'll join us tomorrow and or Friday. Tomorrow will be led in practice by Rabbi Jenny Solomon, joining us from Raleigh, North Carolina, and on Friday by Rabbi Shefa Gold, both days, 12:30, of course. Some of you might be joining us later today at 3:00 Eastern for the question and answer session with Rabbi Sam Feinsmith. We hope you can do that. It's also will be live streamed on our YouTube channel, and the recording will be posted there as well. So if you can't join, but you're interested in hearing Sam's response to your questions, you can join then. Of course, we want to thank Elizabeth and Dennis Lazaroff for sponsoring today's practice in loving memory of their mom and grandmother, Rose Cohen. And thanks to you, Sarah, for so beautifully weaving Rose into our meditation today. Those who are able, welcome to stay on for about 15 minutes of conversation with Sarah about the teaching and practice and the work of At the Well. And if you're leaving us now, we hope we'll see you tomorrow or sometime soon, and extend lots of blessings to you for the rest of your day. If you do have a question for Sarah about the practice, or if you'd like to share a reflection on the practice, you can put that in the chat box, which is open again. And if you have a question, please just preface it by writing question, and I can try to keep an eye on that. So thank you, Sarah. That was really great, just great. Question I have for you. Well, first of all, I know it'd be really interesting for people to hear about the work of At the Well and your vision for it. It's really, I'm always so moved and inspired by people who have a vision and make it happen. Founders of organizations. I was on the gala last night for Keshet, where Edith Klein, the founder of Keshet, was honored, and
20 years for service.
20 years. Yeah, pretty amazing. So, hopefully in whatever number of years that's you. But I think the point here is just that to have the vision and to have the energy and the skill set and the passion to make it happen is really quite amazing. So I'd love to hear the story about At the Well and how that has come to be and what it offers. So maybe you can say a few words about that first.
I'm going to try to cut myself off because I could just go on for this classic founder syndrome there. But thank you for the question. I just want to encourage. I won't.
You already gave me a great elevators pitch. Why don't you just do the elevator version?
Yeah, I will say At the Well, our mission statement is to enable women's well-being using ancient Jewish practice. What it means to be Jewish and what it means to be a woman are ever expanding in the world, and we're as inclusive as possible. We really focus on the rituals that are about sort of women's experience, specifically Rosh Chodesh, which is the new moon. And we support a network of women's circles around the world, and non-binary circles, for those folks who want to find deep places of belonging and community around Rosh Chodesh. And other rituals and practices that are about tracking time and cycles and our bodies, things that are not talked about, but we try to make visible and conventional, like the fact that Judaism has libraries of books about the female menstruation cycle. And very few of those authors are written by people who actually cycle. So we're here in our version in 5782, owning and leaving a legacy in that kind of way. But our core focus is on Rosh Chodesh.
That's great.
And I will say one thing about that, you acknowledge what it takes to be the kind of person who has a vision, and then you just go for it. But it's not like that. I mean, you have to have the commitment to going for it. So thinking about a deep 20 years, thinking about the legacy of how this organization was founded years before, it takes a lot of ruach. And it also is a spiritual practice, I think, for founders, when done with the heart pocket in mind, to set yourself on a course, to be unwavering in your commitment to that vision, and to go forward with who's along for it, and not thinking that's just a light switch, because if it existed in society before you, you
Mhm.
wouldn't need to create an organization. So
Mhm.
it takes time to do the work. And it's something I talk to my team a lot about, having the longevity for the generational shift that we hope for.
Um, Really moving and just inspiring to watch it take root and grow. And there's like, I hadn't looked at your website in a little while, since I think maybe the last time you were here. And I think, wow, it's really beautiful. And you're doing amazing work, and may it continue to grow and prosper and reach more and more people.
Mark,
I
there's
did,
142 people here. Someone's got a question. This
oh
is
yeah, someone's got to have a
who's
question.
out there.
I got, oh, I don't know, did the link get back in there? Maybe you could plug the link back in, Sarah, at the well, so people
I
can.
already put it in there.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Adi. He's on top of it. So here's my question. You really you raised the question about the role of the heart in Jewish tradition and how we understand it. And teachers are always inviting folks to put their hands over their heart space. And you brought attention to that midrash in Kohelet Rabbah, Ecclesiastes Rabbah, about the 60 different emotions or functions of the heart, which is really an amazing midrash. Here's my question. My question is, are we focusing on the heart, or is the heart representative of the wisdom of the body for you? Like, do you distinguish? Is there a specific role of the heart space in the body, as opposed to something that helps us bring attention and awareness to the body as a whole and as a source of wisdom and teaching?
First of all, I'm not a rabbi, and I want to just say that.
Yeah.
So I'm not coming from a rabbinic place. I'm an executive director and a founder and a businesswoman.
I know, but you did a great, you
Um,
brought that great midrash.
Yeah, yes. And I
know it.
taught mindfulness for 11 years before I started yoga, which I know is resonant with this group and how some of my training comes to be. I mean, I think that it's a yes answer, which is that it's both.
Mhm.
My
What is
personal
it for you?
feeling,
Like when you're bringing, when you hear those words or use them, bring attention or pay attention to the heart. Are you I guess I'm asking specifically, are you thinking about bringing awareness to that space? Or then do you kind of expand it to awareness of the whole body?
I mean, the mind can put
Yeah.
attention on anything, right? So where's your mind? Your mind is wherever it's on its attention. It's not in your brain. Your brain is a tool, and Jews love our brains, and we've used our brains for survival and for spiritual practice a lot. And there's a whole argument for forgetting our bodies and our somatic experience as guides, and that's for another class about that. I will say that I think personally just that there's so much intelligence of the heart and of the gut and the stomach.
Mhm.
And in society right now, we're paying attention to the intelligence of our minds or of our brains and our ability to use them for productivity. But if we place our mind out of our brain and place the attention on the somatic experience of our heart, there's information that gets passed everywhere. It could show up in sensations in your body. And then that's why I ask people to notice the characteristics of your heart to see what was in there. And if you find anger, you know that like anger is actually not really an emotion. It's like 100 emotions pressed against each other that just is like anger.
Mhm.
And it's like there's a lot in there. So bringing the awareness and keeping the awareness, focusing the awareness on the information that your heart is sharing with you can open a doorway into a lot of discovery. For Kislev, I'm trying to focus on the heart, but obviously everything is connected and God is one. So if you open your heart and you find things and all of a sudden you notice that your left leg is tingling, that's information. That's a story. That's something to investigate. What was it? And that travels, and it doesn't have to be in just this region of your body, but the attention of your mind on this region of your body offered up some information from the rest of our body that is for discovery. And is not about productivity. but about just the being part of our humanity, of just what it means to be human, and our senses, like what senses are we using in our life.
Yeah. There is a question here from Cheryl. Good one. Please share what's been most helpful for you in bringing forth holy chutzpah. Hebrew phrase for that is azut de kedusha, holy boldness. What do you say about that?
I am the most free, most privileged version of all of my ancestors and every Sarah that I have ever been named for, including my 2 great grandmothers named Sarah. I was only a dream in their hearts, in their pocket, for a life that could look like what it means to have more than enough and an amazing education and the freedom of expression and Judaism and my rights. And that is some strong stuff. So it helps guide me in carrying forward what I see in this moment and offering it as gratitude and of service to my life.
Rabbi Deborah Ornstein read my mind because I was curious to hear a little bit more about what you said about anger, about it being a kind of conglomeration of a lot of different feelings. Can you unpack that a little bit?
Yeah, again, I don't spend my whole life as a meditation teacher anymore, so I'm not coming prepared with all my tools, but I think go towards some of the people who really do sit with sort of mind-body stress reduction, MBSR work, and in more spiritual places, obviously within the Institute here, and also the Vipassana meditation and sort of the practice and the lineage from there around the concept of anger. But anger, people express anger differently, but if you really sit, if we did just a meditation on anger, which is coming up in the next month of Tevet, is all about anger. So maybe we need to have an anger meditation. I think with some focus. I think I did a little bit of anger.
All blurring, but I think that's like, I have a vague memory of that.
I think maybe that was my first one.
Maybe.
Okay, so maybe we need to come back and do that one. If you really sit with your mind.
It never goes out of season.
No, it's on purpose. The Hebrew calendar placed it there. It's one of our Esau months. It's there on purpose, directly after this month, directly before the month of Shvat, where we plant our seeds. It is an important part of cycles, and it's an important part of being human. And anger is complex, and it is more. It is many emotions. If I really think about the things that I'm angry with, and I close my sense door and I get in there, there's sadness, there's shame, there's jealousy, there's disappointment. There's injustice. And even when I say those words, I feel my tingling in my body. So I know that that's true. My body's giving me that information. Yeah. And it comes out in just my fists and my eyebrows. But it's more complex.
Yeah. Sometimes think about anger. I've heard anger spoken about as a protective emotion. So actually, when we notice it and then, peel the onion as you're just describing and saying, oh, look, I thought it was anger, but it's also, or it's all the things you just described. Then we realize, then we can actually experience, I think, its protective quality and say, oh, thanks for protecting me, but now I can take care of, by bringing some kindness to ourselves or compassion to ourselves, maybe can dissolve that anger a little bit.
And anger is not to be, this is the question I always ask myself, because I'm a founder, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm angry that I did not inherit rituals on Rosh Chodesh. I'm angry that I spent 3 days a week going to Hebrew school in a kosher home in a Jewish summer camp, and no one ever taught me the ritual of women gathering on the new moon as a way of being in places of belonging in myself. That makes me angry. It's part of my holy chutzpah. Right. So anger is good. Sometimes I can get too hot. And am I burning the forest down in a forest fire that is productive for regrowth? Or am I burning this forest fire? Is there a forest fire in anger that is not productive, and it is sad, and it is burning things that were supposed to be there? And I think that's where the line is. But anger is an important emotion for humans. And there's some things that we should definitely be angry about, so that we then go and do action in the world, and we're part of repairing the places that are not right.
Well, that's beautifully said, and a great segue. Hopefully we'll get you back in Tevet to speak about that. I don't know if you can answer this like in 30 seconds or not, but do you see a significant, in terms of where we are in the month and the fact that we're almost at the full moon, does that represent for you like an intensification of the themes of the month? Or how do you, I don't know, in your work at the well, do you differentiate between different stages of the month of the end of the moon?
Depends on the month is my
Uh-huh.
answer. So for Kislev, not really.
Mm-hmm.
Kislev, Hanukkah is the only holiday that's placed over Rosh Chodesh. So that's the
Right,
only one other than Rosh Hashanah, which is just Rosh Chodesh of Tishrei,
right.
which was not God commanded, which was placed there on purpose for a reason. The turning inward of that month versus the fullness of the moon of Tishrei, which is Sukkot, which was God commanded. Hanukkah spans the 2 months of Kislev and Tevet, which is a really interesting read and take on what Hanukkah is all about. Is it light and miracles and joy, and that of Kislev, or is it anger and destruction of Tevet? So that was placed there on
Mm-hmm.
purpose. In terms of full moon versus new moon, I mean, there's a lot of holidays that are placed on full moons for a reason. Purim's on a full moon, Passover's on a full moon, Sukkot's on a full moon, Tu B'Av on a full moon. The full moon is when it's bright outside, so people can go party. So it's about joy. For another workshop in a different space and time, we can add the extra layer of menstrual cycles. For those of you who are open to thinking about the 50% of all animals that have a cycle, and how that links up. Now is a different time on Earth. We have a lot of light pollution, but if you can think back 4,000 years ago, without tech, the world was on a different rhythm and people's bodies were impacted by that. So there's another layer of that. And monthly women's gatherings on Rosh Chodesh and full moon parties are not unique to Judaism. They're sort of universal for indigenous land-based practices on Earth. And so since we're an indigenous culture carrying out in the diaspora in this moment, there's obviously links to some of the relationship between the full moon and new moon holidays.
Mm. Wonderful. All right, we're at time, actually a little over, but thank you, Sarah. Thanks
Thank
for
you
being so
everyone so
generous.
much.
I'm so glad you were able to be here. Hopefully we'll find it a day soon for you to come back. And I want to thank you. Of course, thanks Elizabeth and Dennis. Thank you, Rose. Wonderful to celebrate and dance with you late at night here. And thanks Adi Stein, as always, for holding us together in this Mishkan, this tabernacle of ours together. Thanks to all of you. Hope to see you tomorrow for practice with Rabbi Jenny Solomon.